What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tsla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with the big bank earnings that just came out, and what you should be watching for as time progresses on the charts. But before I break anything down about information, before I talk about Tsla, SPY, Nvda, and the others, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. And deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends in just 2 weeks. Anyways, for SPY, as of right now, we are on an uptrend. SPY is actually attempting to ride this blue trend line, making higher highs and higher lows as of right now. But the question is, could this continue? And what on earth is the trend kind of telling us about this moving forward? So, as a reminder, there's not really much data coming out for today. At 10 o'clock a.m., we have business inventories, some housing data, and then retail inventories data coming out. So look for some volatility 30 minutes after the market opens. Then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 42-day bill auction, which is all once again very, very minor, not really going to cause anything too crazy. We have Kugler giving a speech at 2:45 p.m., which is once again minor. So I'm not really expecting anything too crazy. But there is going to be some data coming out at 10 a.m., but nothing, once again, too insane. The market's in the green for now, once again, continuing to hold up. And then we had Jerome Powell give a speech yesterday, or he had his interview yesterday, and he was basically giving us more insights about when the Fed may end up cutting. He said it's going to be before we get a 2% inflation rate because of the lag effect that their policies have. So they're going to have to cut beforehand. So that could be, very soon. It could take a few months, could take another year. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on the inflationary data. That's what Jerome Powell was basically talking about. There's also some more news right over here about the earnings that came out. We have the big bank earnings that came out for today, and then later on today we have Interactive Brokers, JB Hunt, and a few others announcing earnings. But just know that Bank of America did relatively well. They actually beat on EPS and revenue. They topped estimates. They're actually looking pretty decent. EPS was a nice beat at 83 cents, which is not bad whatsoever. Revenue is at $25.54 billion above expectations. On top of this, their net interest income is once again up about $14.5 billion, so it's looking pretty good. Morgan Stanley also beat estimates on a better than expected trading and investment banking, so not bad whatsoever. However, what wasn't good is the fact that their shares dropped after the bank's wealth management division missed on interest income. So they beat on EPS and revenue, but their interest income was very poor. That's why the share price is down. Something similar happened to Charles Schwab. What basically happened to them is they ended up doing decent for EPS and revenue, but their revenue has fallen. Their interest revenue has actually fallen quite a bit, and also despite their high valuation of client assets, interest revenue is short for them. That's why the share price is down quite a bit for Charles Schwab. So that being said, guys, that's it for big bank earnings. What do I see for the markets? There's a very, very interesting pattern on SPY. Besides the day, we like to see a lot of upside. What tends to happen is we saw a nice pump and then dump on Thursday. On Friday, we pumped and then dumped. On Monday, we pumped and dumped. Today, we might see something very similar. There's going to likely be a pump attempt upon openness. The 30 minutes is looking more bullish, but watch resistance very carefully. If we hold above 562.5, look for 563.7. If that breaks, we're going back up to 565. So look at this range. Break 565, and we're going to be pushing up towards 566, 568 and higher levels. We're going to remain bullish. But if we pump and then dump back down, we end up losing this blue trend line. That's going to easily start dipping back down to 560. If 560 fails us, we have this not only this gap over here, but we can actually see a big rug pull, and this could actually start dipping even lower. My prediction is we're going to pump a little bit higher on SPY, retest resistance in the mid 560s, 563s, I mean, and then what's going to happen is we might see a move back down, just continue to ride this trend line. I do think it might kind of pump and dump today, but whether the extent of the dump is large or not depends on how we react to this blue trend line, if we hold this or not. If we do lose it, there's going to be a bigger dump. If we hold it, we might just kind of pop back up and come back down to it, just like how we did yesterday. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I do think that SPY loves to pump in the morning, then come back down as time goes on. We might see something very, very similar once again. For Nvidia, the same thing is going on. Nvda is on a bit of a downtrend. We have a double top-like structure, so we could be retesting our 200 EMA, hitting 129, then maybe rejecting, coming back down. We also have this like small little gap over here to fill towards 126, so I could be looking for a little pump and then a dump back down as the most likely possibilities. We also have like a head and shoulders like structure, so be a little bit careful with Nvidia. If we lose 125, there'll be a bigger drop coming, so there is some downside metrics developing on Nvidia. For Bitcoin is looking a little bit weaker. We have like this top over here that was established at 65,000, rejected here. It could be establishing a lower high, and this could lead to more downside. So the share price does look a little bit more bearish. We could be looking for a retest of 62,500. Just want to call that out. For ES, it is trying to push a little bit higher, but look at this range on ES. It's kind of like it pumped and then dumped and then pumped and dumped and pumped and dumped and pumped. So it might try to pump a little bit higher, but we'll see if we get a rejection off the 5,700 area. So it might go a little bit higher in my opinion. Look for a little push upon open, but then we'll see if we get a rejection or not once we hit the 5,700 to 5,710 area, between that range. Tesla's looking, in my opinion, a little bit more weak as of right now, but this depends on different factors. If we hold 255, look at 258 as resistance in 260. And if we end up losing 255, we're going to be dipping down to 252.8. If that fails us, we have a big gap to fill all the way down here towards 248. So in my personal opinion, Tesla has a little bearish structure, and we have this gap to fill down here. Could pump and then dump, but I do see a risk was coming down to fill this gap as a strong possibility. I think we might come down to fill this gap on Tesla. If we end up losing 255 and 252, I think we're going to easily fill the gap down here to 248. That's looking more probable. And also considering the fact that Tesla, it liked to pump and dump pretty much for the last couple of days. Like if you look at, if you go back to like Monday, for example, Tesla pumped and dumped. Tuesday, we pumped a bit then consolidated. Wednesday, we pumped and dumped. Thursday, we just, we gapped up a little bit, then we started to dump. Friday, we pumped and started to slow down a little bit. Then on Monday, yesterday, we pumped and dumped. Today, we might see a little pump and then a drop back down to fill the gap. So that's what I'm seeing from a technical standpoint. For the QQQ, it's the same thing. We're just kind of range bound, but there is a risk of it kind of coming back down. It depends if we could hold 495 or not. But look at the last 2 days. It pumped, then rejected, pumped and rejected. So I might see a little pump and maybe a rejection back down is the most likely possibilities. Look at this resistance all the way up here that's building close to 498. If that breaks, we could get very close to 500 and then make our move back down. Look at key support at 495. My gut tells me we could be getting close to the 499s and eventually coming back down to 495. For Aapl, we kind of pumped and dumped and then pumped and dumped. So I think we could pop a bit, then dump back down towards the previous breakout. So this 232 area is going to likely be tested. I think we may pop and then drop back down to that level. For Supermicro, seeing something similar, kind of pumped and dumped, might be coming back down to the 880s. If we end up losing 893, watch for that. For the IWM Russell 2000, I'm going to be looking for 220s resistance. I think there's a good chance we push higher. For Amazon, we're trying to push a little bit higher. So look at this 196 area and some consolidation between 194 and 196. So we'll have to see how things go. For Meta's trying to rebound right here. We'll be watching to see if 497 holds. If we lose that, there's going to be a bigger drop coming. If we rebound off that, we'll be looking for a bigger push all the way up here towards 510. My gut tells me it's going to be pushing up higher towards this 504 area than consolidate, but I don't expect it to be that strong unless we get above 510. Microsoft looks like it's going to consolidate as well over here. Might try to see a retest of 456 in consolidation. And then last but not least, we have Google. Might push towards 190 and consolidate. I find that to be very likely as well. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you watch your levels very carefully and just know that the market loves to kind of pump and then dump. We'll see how things go with that moving forward. But with that being said, have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon on the next one. Thank you and peace out.